was landed. Hope your money's going to an insurance company. What was no sense?
Very good cause.
Was landed. Hope your money's going to an insurance.
We're good.
It's gonna. Need to be here.
No, that
might. It's kind of what.
Well, February, recognition order, pledge allegiance and one of that for part members of the district. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Roll call.
Rich,
Here.
Dan, here, Brian, here.
Public session for agenda items only. Public session for agenda items only. All right, moving on. Fire district build report, WFT build update. Chief Casino.
I don't have a lot tonight because I know Bob's got a lot on his plate tonight for this meeting. In the next week, we're gonna be cleaning up a handful of items that are still out there that we still need to do over at department. I got some stuff to do. Bobby's coming over to help with some other stuff Thursday. And we should clean up a bunch of that little stuff. The MES compressor should be fully installed by Wednesday, hopefully. Bob Fink is coming back to finish his work up. And when he had sent that air quality out 2 weeks ago, we're hoping to get that back by the end of the week so we can get that in service and Danny can schedule some training on that new unit. Other than that, like I said, there's a little bit of hanging fruit there that we're working on. We're working still with a couple of contractors to try to clean up a few things. And other than that, they're using a building. They had a Super Bowl party over there the other day, which I think was all right, but I didn't happen to stop over, but I think it was all well. And they're enjoying the building, so thank you.
Thank you. You want to talk about that,
The budget.
the budget?
Yes, you have the budget in Dropbox, and I also send it out to you in email today, just so you have a record of it. It hasn't changed significantly from the November update, but there are a few things that we're going to need to propose and that we're recommending. So we'll just talk about the contingency fund. We're still running a balance of about $30,000 on contingency. We're pretty confident that we're going to owe DeJezer probably about another $4,000. That's what it's going to look like. We're going to owe them. And there will be some other things that will likely come out of contingency, which are going to be gutters for the shed. We had a meeting with the HVAC engineer through Finney about the soundproofing to the plenum vent work underside, and I think they finally agreed that we can build that out to the we'll say the distance of where the bottom ductwork is, and put a soundproofing material all in around there, and then put tin metals, paint it black. It'll look like it actually belongs there. While they were getting some good sound from the air that's going up through the returns, been saying this, a lot of the sound is mechanical because it's coming right down from the roof, and the engineer agreed, and he believes that by doing that, we're going to probably gain maybe 7-8 decibels, which is a lot. So, and it's not going to really be a huge cost, but that will also come out of contingency.
And didn't you mention a couple baffles and those
Yeah,
returns also?
and then putting a couple baffles in the returns. So think that is gonna help out a lot. And that's, so I'm happy to report on that.
How do you think that's gonna impact us if somebody's ever gotta get up there and do any work?
No, because it has nothing to do with that. It's all it is the lower ductwork is wider where the return on the top of that ductwork goes right up into the unit. You never really have to get in there anyway, and it's just
Parts of it.
no moving parts whatsoever, so. So that could, bring this contingency down to about $20,000. So we could be chewing up about 5 to 10 more of the contingency. You guys approved in November several items. We've already, gone ahead and purchased many of those items, but there still is some other outstanding items which we knew we were going to have, with blinds in various window tinting, which is in Dropbox for $6,500. There's still AV considerations, that money that you'd already earmarked. I'm just putting it right back out here because you guys already did earmark that money. The gutters for the shed, that is something new that came out of our meeting on December 19th. And we do think this is a good idea because you have water that's coming right off, especially onto the parking lot area in front of the garage door going into the shed. And we want to divert that water on both sides, keep water away from going underneath the shed and down the sides. And I don't even think it'll cost $1,500, but springtime we'll get an estimate on that and get that done. And then just still some miscellaneous fit up. We did get a lot of stuff, between the chief and Joe, but I know we're going to have a few more things. We're waiting on a couple bigger whiteboards, but they're supposed to be here this week. So after the chief gets all that stuff and gets it up, he'll assess to see if he thinks he's going to need some other things. We still have that scrubber that we would like to get, and I'll have something more for you next month on that can be used in the kitchen. So that leaves us, our total estimated incidentals, 814,000, round numbers. We're at 706 now. So with what I've talked about, excluding the contingency, brings us up to like 717. So that's, you can figure out the surplus there of what we would have. So it kind of gives Sean a good idea of where I think we're going to be at. I mean, we're past the big hurdles of something unknown. However, as Joe did say, we have AJ Signs working through MJG. We're struggling a bit with those folks. AGM, who still has work to do, and I'm very confident they're going to fix what they need to do. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, yes.
We might be stuck with a little bit of the way the wiring looks on the inside above the overhead doors for the time being. We got to be careful warranty wise how much we do there, because we don't want to void the warranty. And but we are going to get all the holes and the penetrations filled and everything painted. And then maybe after the warranty's up, if we wanted to pretty that up a little bit, we could. But I think right now to do that, we could run into a problem.
Yeah, I think we shooting ourselves in the foot if we go and do some electric work in there that MJG will say, well, you were in there, you own it now, so.
Yeah, and AJ Signs would definitely say that right now. Yeah. So, but I mean, I think we're getting close to closing out. But I think the numbers have stayed pretty stable from November. I mean, there's not a lot of surprises from what you were presented with there.
To the X's.
Yeah, that's some other stuff we have working. The other thing, what we're looking for authorization really tonight is two things, that were not really part of what you had already approved, is the SCBA bottle racks. That's kind of an extension going along with, the new compressor. That way the bottles can, finally be stored safely in an area near the compressor, and to get an approval on the blinds and the window tinting. And did I cover everything?
I think so. And just the last thing, I know since the building's been up and running, the gas and electric over there, you probably see a difference in your bills on this side because of all that. And we've been trying to maintain the lighting over there. We added a bunch of motion sensors, and I'm gonna add a few more this week also for downstairs around the ready room and those little hallways down there. The other thing that we're trying to figure out too is the thermostat for upstairs in the main body of the main meeting room. That type of thermostat, when the heat shuts down, the fan unit keeps on running 24/7. It might have been something for the environmental issues way back when, but we're gonna try to get a thermostat, so when the heat shuts down or the air shuts down, the fans all shut down, so we don't have that 24/7 motor running.
Yeah, they're gonna replace it. DeJezer is gonna replace it. We just need to make sure it's replaced with the correct thermostat.
And yeah, the engineer took a picture of that whole pamphlet, and he was going to try to size one up, so.
I was just gonna say, it should be a couple minute delay.
It will be. It'll run
It
us.
should run 24/7.
No, meaning after it meets the temperature, it'll continue running and then it'll shut down.
The only question I got, Bob, and I don't know if you remember when we had the garage doors on, were the garage doors ever tinted? The windows?
Those garage doors they do have
They do
the,
have tin.
well, yes, it is the tinted in them. We didn't have it here because it
Yeah,
wasn't in our
we didn't
spec,
have-
but
yeah,
there it was.
Expected there because of the problems here.
So I'll make sure, because I
Yes.
told in today to, put some insulation on the copper pipe in the engine bay. And the one gear rack in the back door is right against the windows. And I know a
Yeah,
long time ago, we had an issue with the gear
Yeah.
deteriorating, so just want to make sure while we're having window tinting done in the rest of the place, that we didn't have to address any of it, while we're at it.
well, if you have gear that close to it, I
Even
can
with
tell
the
you right
tinting,
now,
we're gonna-
that's,
even with the tinting, we're gonna have problems there. We get
if
gear
it's that close. So that might be a consideration.
Something more on those windows.
Maybe if that's where the gear is gonna stay.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe it is, right?
Yeah,
You're really
it's
not
the only
gonna,
spot for it.
Black the windows out for now then or something.
Just that one
just,
bay door.
just that bay. So I'll work with the chief on that,
Yeah,
because
just
American did the work here. They're a great company to work with, so.
it's gonna be cheaper to do the window tint now than
Yeah.
to buy 10 sets of gears.
That's a great point. We should, because otherwise it's gonna damage the gear.
Was there a second sheet that went with the tinting and stuff? Because there's only one price we need, only the tint. We weren't doing the shades.
You weren't doing the
No.
shades.
No, that was the second quote. We had them come in for it at $6,000 or $4,000.
Okay,
We're just gonna do the tinting.
so I thought that was partly shades and tinting.
They just did all shades.
You think that's gonna be enough?
Huh?
You think that's gonna be enough?
We think so.
Here's my question. If you're doing a train, we had the big radio class there a couple weeks ago, which was very successful. If you're doing a class like that there during the daylight hours, are we
We,
gonna be able
we,
to darken that room
we
down?
believe it's gonna be because of what I did the same thing at the training facility and it knocks it down enough.
Okay.
The question that I have is, I was there when that girl came through, but Danny, your brother, took care of it, and I wasn't involved in any of them conversations. We still need the chief's office, some kind of shades in there, because they can't work in there.
Put up a
And,
temporary blind.
and,
Well,
and
we were
the,
gonna tint, we were gonna tint that too, but then let's just
Okay.
redo this one then. Let me get that.
Okay, so
back.
what, can we just keep it what it is,
Yeah.
and obviously I'll work with them to scale it back to what it needs to be. So it sounds to me like even it might be half the cost, but then if we do add the one overhead door, and it, that's gonna cost a little bit, but I don't think it'll be nearly as much. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Because I know J.O. was really having that issue in that west side of the.
that west side stuff. And the last thing that I'll point out to you is the 6-page task list. I mean, we're diligently working on, we actually probably have 75% of everything done on the list. And so, I mean, I'm pretty confident that not everything's getting done on here because some of the items the board already kind of said, no, we're not going to do that. But we'll go back to this next month between the leadership of the department, the committee, and Brian came to the last meeting on this, and we'll definitely go back so everybody is happy with what the results are with this. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of work by, everybody on this, so it's good.
And the quality will be in soon to finish their stuff too.
Well, yeah, I want to get quality in there like ASAP now, and get them in there.
Resolution for the cart,
So resolved. Second.
roll call.
Rich. Aye. Nick.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Brian. Aye.
And then we need a resolution for 6,000 and
About 6,000 for the.
for the line.
Right.
the
Window
fencing.
fixes. I thought for chili ball.
Rich.
Aye.
Nick.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Brian. Aye.
All right, thanks, Bob, and thanks, Joey.
Thank
Moving
you.
on to Department President Report. So now you have to use President Report.
So, do you want me to read every one of these items? You guys already got this.
Yeah, they haven't dropped on.
What I'll do is I'll just go through the highlighted parts of it. The one building uniform request we have in Casey Bell for fifth event he's having there. Just a clarification of the key fob system. I know we were trying, and I understand that I believe it was like $5,000 or more to add another system or something to that. just with
Close to
one.
$4,000.
Yeah. So our concern, not a concern, but our question is making sure we try to, and I know it's a lot of money. I'm not debating that at all, but we're trying to get the key fobs in place so that when we change hands of different operations, we can say, hey, your key fob no longer good. You are now the uniform guy. Right. That's our biggest concern. And I know. So down the road, if there's something where you're adding to the system, if we can look at that room again.
Yeah, 'cause I think for now, I don't know if Brian agrees, but I talked about it with Joey and Bob. I think for now, being that it's so much money and that our key fob system is kind of almost maxed out for, what we can be adding to, is being that we're talking uniforms that are probably gonna be used once a month. Not like it's a highly accessed door, so, it's gonna get a master key that will be locked up, and then there'll be, a submaster, and a submaster, but a key that'll be issued to the two gentlemen that are in charge of the committee, and then, if need be, it's cheaper to change the lock than it is to put the key fob system in, so,
Okay.
Change it a lot.
yeah.
We're still working. I met with, I don't remember the guy's name, but he's the same guy that did the town's AV stuff. He came up today. I met with him at noon time. So he's putting together pricing. I don't remember his name, but he does their stuff. And I guess they got a pretty decent system, which wasn't expensive. It's audio visual in demand. So
Their system, they're both beyond this, but their system is geared towards broadcasting meetings. It's not geared towards conducting training. So you might want to look at what they're doing to make sure that you get that balance.
I explained what our purpose was, and he was comfortable with it, because I said we want the interaction back and forth, because we have somebody home, doing the class we just did or whatever. They can.
Their new system for broadcasting meetings is phenomenal. So it's like one switch and it's up and running. It's just a really good
So we're
system.
waiting to see that back. So that's gonna take a little while once it gets back. And in some kind, we cut back on a speaker system, just to be able to have something still to be able to hear in the room. We know that the soundproofing and all that'll help, but any kind of video or anything on the TV set currently, you can barely hear. So that's why we want to plug into that so that we can project that sound out there. So we're still working on that. Question on the Spectrum services. I know we talked about Spectrum and we're talking about the boxes. What's the district side to what the department side is on what boxes the district covers, the district don't cover, we cover them all? I just want clarification.
My understanding, well,
I'm not sure, so it's a.
Brian, you get a better understanding than me.
Well, I mean, I know, like, I can only speak for over here. I mean, I know you got the best grasp of it, but I take a swing strike out.
Coming tomorrow.
I know, like, right, the basic,
I'll do the same thing with training.
if I'm not mistaken, please by all means jump in.
Yep.
The basic cable services, the boxes, the district kind of covers there. Any additional, like over here, DeFriesel got the sports package or something like that. The company pays for that. You know, I know the same level of service for both departments the district pays for. The above and beyond, but my understanding is the boxes are through us.
Is there a certain number of boxes that?
The goal is to find streaming service or streaming services that will lower our cost
So
by eliminating Spectrum television. We'll still have to have Spectrum service, but that internet is what will drive the streaming services, because you know, how often and how many hours a day are there people in the firehouse watching television?
There's only one, sorry.
You know, well, I mean, you know, we were laughing about it yesterday. We were laughing about it yesterday during the Super Bowl. All three televisions in the members room were on. And that's probably 60% of the hours that those televisions will rack up for the year was yesterday. Because they went on around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and they went off at 10:30 at night. And that's the most hours that they're gonna rack up during the course of the year. Yet we're paying for all these Spectrum boxes all over.
YouTube TV is like $85.
But I was about to say, we talked about this a little bit in our meeting,
And that's, you get all the local channels, everything with it. So
right? And if you get the add-on, like the premium YouTube,
Right.
premium, it's like
So you're
$10.
doing
You just can't get NASCAR, damn it.
Well,
It gives you like
You pay for
10,
that.
it gives you 10 accounts where you can like log in, you know, maybe Wine School DeFriesel each have their own email address set up. And you can have up to 10 TVs with the premium and you're paying like $100. Plays, I mean, the only short-term expenses, if you went out and bought like a Roku, for example. And you can
Cool.
expand that, there's other ones out there, Fubo and
You can
really
buy the TVs that way too, those smart.
Right, they
TVs
come
have that already, so
preloaded
It's just-
or
just
there's night
preloaded,
down,
just
exactly.
pay what you want for
I have that YouTube TV at home, works
Mhm.
great.
That's what I use.
it. Take my bar, my brother's too cheaper.
well, we'll talk about it. I'm just trying to bring some back to the membership so they know what, because they want to put one downstairs for in the ready room down there. We have another TV that's in the conference room if we ever have to go something there, or we, you know, the chief wants to use that for an EOC operation somewhere to watch the news. And then the other thing is looking at a TV we got on the side, whether we want to put that to the front so that they can use both TVs for training purposes instead of one. So.
You have to get the right TVs, you can stream, you know, AirPlay and Google, you know, to stream from tablets and stuff, so you can put stuff up on the screens. So,
Well, Mark have to use it at work, so.
yeah.
Yesterday, I heard you guys had problem with that one television.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't hear.
Yeah.
Well,
The one
when
TV over
Spectrum,
by the
when Spectrum
chairs.
was there, he had both of them working fine. It came to my knowledge Saturday when David, or Sunday when I was talking to David, somebody tried to hook a gaming board up to it and did something. That's why it got knocked out of whack, so
Change the input or something.
I don't know if they plugged it into the wrong thing or what they did, but I know when Spectrum was there and I was there for that guy for 2 hours that day, it was, everything was fine.
It's ironic because Jeff and I had this conversation yesterday about the one TV in the other room they were having trouble with. And it's like, we got to figure out exactly what we're going to do with boxes and then have a procedure sheet. If this is how you do this, laminate it, put it out there, leave it with the television so that, you know, somebody comes in with a box. They can make it work and yet they're not going to disrupt all the settings.
And Roku's great, so you plug in an Xbox or whatever you want to plug in there. And when you open up the menu, it just shows you HDMI 3. It's labeled Xbox, TV, whatever. It's just,
Yeah.
it's more seamless. It's one remote.
The next item, the tables and stuff, a couple of nesting tables, and the nesting tables work great for a classroom setting. We set them up for an event, and when someone took their chair and kind of come in on the front of it with their chair, they hit the thing part of it and almost dumped the whole table with the food and everything that was on it. So, but because the handle's right in the end, so they put a chair on the end, and when they went underneath with the arm of the chair, it hit the nesting arm and tilt the table. So we removed the handles on them, on those. We have the handles handy so that if we have to nest them and put them away somewhere, then we'll take the handle out. You put it in, just hold it on and turn it and take it off. But the question is if they're looking at the number of tables, we're trying to set up their max number of classroom and seats we have. But we're concerned with them using the chairs. I guess they finished the order out with some regular chairs, but no wheels on them. And they're concerned about using those chairs in that room and then the guys sliding across the room with it. So is there a way that maybe we can talk to Turnkey? I believe they came from Turnkey and see if we can switch them out for.
They didn't have any.
No
That's
more.
why,
That's why
that's
we
why we
asked.
went to that as extras. I mean, it's not gonna hurt the floor. It is not gonna damage the floor. I can tell you, that's a commercial grade floor that they would use in, in the mall.
Right.
Yeah. So it's, as long as the feet are kept intact the way they are, it's not gonna damage the floor. They wanted like $350, $300 because they had nothing else that was used or anything that was reasonable in cost. And that's why the board said round it out with like 20 of those chairs. You wouldn't need them all the time. So, and they were all stackable. So that's the reason why we got them.
Okay, oh, well, I'll mention that to them and then the meeting table, we took the table because we put power strips in them so that we can use our laptops and stuff for the meetings. And then we tie wrap the tables together so that they can't separate because the electrical cords. But just so you know, we kind of did a little bit of modifications to them, but we made them. And then the last thing was we talked about the window tint. So that's all I have. Plus, Bobby, has anything else?
Not really. My only concern was for the Bob on the one closet, but just seems silly to me that we would have one brass key for one door in our entire building.
I think the biggest thing right now is $4,000.
No,
Till we know what, how the dust settles, so to speak, plus the system being.
100% understand that. I'm just wondering, maybe this is something that can be considered for the next or something. Just, I understand it's a cost.
But I can point out to you, Bob, there's probably 10 or 12 or more brass keys for this building.
Yeah, right.
The majority of the stuff that works with fobs, but there's at least a dozen brass keys for certain doors. And then it works fine. The process works fine. And we get key boxes where you go to the key box, you take the key you need to go do something. And it's just the process.
Yeah, at
works
the
fine.
end of the day, we're the tenant and you're the landlord, so we'll go with whatever you guys give us, but just thinking, this is the future of technology and just having everything be access controlled by you guys essentially, so.
In conjunction with the company, to be fair. We don't tell you guys who to lock. We don't tell you, you can't like mark into this bill. That's up to you guys. Just make sure we're clear here. That's, you guys determine who, we don't tell you. The system's almost overloaded. This is almost overloaded. There's nothing we can do about that.
I think maybe down the road, if something ever happens to this building or something in that building and you guys gotta look at the system, that's all we're.
We're trying to
Yeah.
redo
Oh, we
the
get it.
system.
Down the road, it's technology and it probably change tomorrow.
It may require the system expansion, which is even more than just buying the reader itself.
Yeah, that's all.
The only other thing I would have to add to Jay's report, and I CC Bob in our email, we have like 5 open tickets with Eclipse, so just
So that
some IT work that needs to be completed.
for their company.
Thank you. Moving on to DFD's report.
Hello. You two had a couple of fob issues. We had like 2 members fobs that started acting really squirrely, and I think it was the system, and Mark went in and I think ironed it out, or Mark and Bob somehow troubleshot it. Maybe it just needed a whole reset. I don't know, but it resolved, so I haven't heard any other complaints. We filed 3 facility use requests this month. The first one is by firefighter Eric Spooner for his son's birthday party. That's on February 22nd. Second one is for Shane Clute, his daughter. They're gonna have a baby shower for her. That's April 12th. And on June 28th, we have a pavilion request by the Urquhart family for firefighter Callahan Urquhart's graduation party. We're going to be registering to participate in the Browns Firehouse Chili Cook-Off. That's going to be on March 25th. Firefighter Hogan is going to be coordinating as our rep for that. And also our recruitment and retention committee had their first meeting. And we're preparing a schedule for events and other plans for the year. And they're going to be reaching out to the Land Skill committee to coordinate plans, and look at some items for purchasing, trying to put together something that can be used by both departments. I think that's the goal. And so hopefully they'll come forward with some good proposals for that. And thank you, Dawn, for sending out the Recruit New York login from FASNY. We went online and registered. We're going to host our open house here at the station on April 26th, and I saw Lance was doing the same on that day, so that's good. Lieutenant Hogan and Brian McRae, who's our member secretary, will be coordinating that day. And also thanks for sending out the fitness reimbursement reminder and the text reimbursement reminder. I'll be pushing that out tomorrow to my members, telling them to get their paperwork in to the chief. That's all I got.
Thank you. We also have one more building use form on the district side for the blood drive on 4/19/25. So give a motion to accept the 5 building use.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Alright. Approval of the prior month's minutes. And the organizational meeting, the workshop, and the regular meeting.
I look at the Dropbox and if there's been any changes, I make a motion that we approve both.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Treasurer's report.
You should have a copy of it in your digital Dropbox. We're not printing them out any longer.
Hold that one.
Paper, because it's, yeah. All right, the money market fund has a balance of $886,478.57. We earned $1,526.50 worth of interest for the month. The breakdown of that money is $743,080 for capital reserve equipment, $106,086 capital reserve building, and $37,311 for the repairs. The WFT capital project account still has a balance of $390,196.70. We earned a little over $700 of interest on that account. Checking account has $80,736.82, earning $236.58 worth of interest for the month. All the bank reconciliations are attached to your end, and you see a copy of all the cash checks that correspond to all the invoices you approved last month. There's also a list from the check register of all the checks that were cut and transfers and deposits that were made. And then finally, there is a P&L for the month of January showing we spent about $20,000. Some of the costs that were approved, or bills that were approved last month, actually were accrued in 2024. So it looks a little bit better than what the itemization was on the bills that you approved last month. Also, in the organizational meeting, I was supposed to provide you with a copy of the bond insurance, basically for Bob and I, in case we take off our money. So there was a copy of that I did not provide last week.
Okay. Going someplace.
Is an accounting purpose this profit and loss report?
It's an income statement, basically, you know. Yeah. Yes.
I remember this stuff.
Nice job.
Get a resolution to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote.
Brian,
Aye.
Dan, Aye.
Aye.
Rich.
Approval of current month's invoices. It was your month, right, Brian?
Yeah, I went through it. I mean, everything looked on the up and up, so to speak. The one, obviously the one big highlight is the $209,000 bill for LoSAP. But beyond that, everything looked good.
Did we get an amount for jail?
I don't see
Yeah,
it.
Sean had it. I didn't, you never gave me that, but
Just make sure, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
we include it.
Thank you. Just on the side note, we'll get the money from the town at the end of this week. Looks like for the taxes.
Oh, hope the income.
Yeah. Cover that bill anyhow.
Resolution to approve the invoices.
So resolved.
Second.
Second by Rich.
I will get you that down.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Yes.
It approved including JOs, we don't know tonight.
Yeah, it's just kind of.
Yeah.
Spread.
Rich.
Aye.
Nick.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Brian.
About correspondence received?
Yes, received a resume and letter of interest from Robert W. Miller Jr. for the open commissioner's position. We received a check from Auctions International for $3,776. Received the M&T month-end collateral statement ending January 25. The Fire District Affairs for AFD of New York, February, March. Also from AFD New York, proposed bylaw change on 2/125. We received a credit refund check from National Grid. It was for the natural gas service upgrade. After they did all their accounting, we received back $773.33, so that was nice. The FIS News Winter of 2024 publication, and the official notification for closed accounts for past Chief Clute in Littlefield, and Brian had an older account that we had to close, so also he has a card from Bank of America, and that was received.
Thank you.
We sent one notice to the North Greenbush Town Assessor. It was the notice that we now send verifying the 2+ year individuals who are eligible for the tax incentive. And there were 3 people, and there was one person that was coming off the list. So, and I did send that to you also. It's in Dropbox. So
The number of people that came back active in Waynesville in the last 2 years, were no Waynesville people.
well, a lot of those people are 20+ers.
Oh,
So the 20+ year people, they don't have to recertify. Of course, once you're good, you're good. The 2+ year, and then what we normally do here in the office, just so everybody's aware, is we send out that same notice to the 2+ year people. And I did it as an attachment from when Patty acknowledged those people so that they can see the town assessor acknowledge those individuals.
I don't want somebody, so you want somebody to say, hey.
Well, I mean,
There's some personal responsibility.
right, exactly. I mean, we're doing, we don't have to do this. We could,
There's some personal responsibility.
right. We're trying to make it easier for the members of the departments by doing it this way. So that was sent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And going, I know there ain't nothing listed on old business, but I believe that we should add the vacant commissioner spot.
Mhm.
And I believe, we let it sit for almost 2 months now, really.
Mhm.
And I think, we've had one applicant, and, I feel confident that we can appoint somebody at this juncture. The rest of you guys agree?
And I think it's great that he put his name in with his decades of experience and the fire department and past chief and everything. And just to confirm, he's our only.
Yep, right, Sean? You didn't get anybody else, right?
I didn't receive.
That was it.
I would be fully supportive of that. Here's your chance to run out that door.
Motion to appoint.
Resolution.
That second, I'll second it.
Do one quick, do we have to mention the term? What's the length of the term we're doing this?
We could leave that into the minutes.
Okay, just want to be,
It's allowed this year.
Right, yeah. To finish the term, then they have to, right.
So the remaining 3 years out.
If he doesn't get enough of this, that's.
sorry.
Yes, they used to let the new commissioner come up and sit there, so unless he wants to go over there. It might not be this up to the board.
Roll call vote.
Rich.
Aye.
Dan. Aye. Brian.
Aye.
Your commissioner, congratulations.
Hiding behind Bobby.
Strategic seating assignment tonight.
This one's off camera.
Don't forget, you gotta stop at the town clerk's office and sign.
Sean or Bob can give you the information to take the required training. There's probably a few of those.
Yeah, well,
left.
there's several
Yeah.
places you can get it now. So we'll get you set up with that.
Right, for business, we already covered the, use for American Red Cross, and I'll turn it over to Bob for the phone disposal.
Yes, so Terry had recommended the company, it was last month. It's Clean Management Environmental Group. They're actually out of South Carolina, but they cover pretty much 2/3 of the whole country. Matter of fact, several of the companies that we've checked with, they go through this company, is what they do. So we supplied them with exactly what we have, and you can see the itemized quote that they sent us. So I mean, based on what I'm hearing other companies in other districts and department are paying, I think that this is definitely for, almost 200 gallons of foam for $3,510 is a pretty good quote. We're still waiting from West Central Environmental Corp to get a quote from them, and the reason probably why you can't get a quote is because they contract with Clean Management. That's who there's like two really big companies, and that's what Terry had said, and I confirmed that with Terry. I said, are they like kind of picking up for all these smaller companies? And he said, yes. So, I mean, it's a liability, especially with the Class B foam, to be keeping this in our stations. God forbid something happens. So my recommendation would be that we can move forward. If you want, I'll try and get a second quote, but I'm having a hard time getting a second quote. And if a quote came in less, we could go with that second quote, but if you could approve up to this 3510.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I agree with you, and we need to do something with it. Just sitting here, it's only probably might cost us more to get rid of it. We sit on it, so. Somebody wants to come up with.
Let's make a resolution up to $3,510. I mean, if you find a cheap one, great, but to dispose of this stuff.
Do they supply, chain, the disposal chain?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they will. That this company will tell you when it's destroyed, where it's destroyed, so that they'll give you the manifest of where it goes.
I've been involved more the others
Yep.
where on some place that's not supposed to be back to.
Yeah, and of course, the universal gold is the real, that's the problem child, and that's where you're paying a little bit extra because of that testing and how it's got to be disposed of, but it is what it is. Like you said, somebody said, it's only going to go up more.
Yep. Second.
Second.
Rich.
Roll call vote.
Rich. Aye.
Nick. Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Brian.
Aye.
Forgot one.
Sorry, man.
Whoa.
No.
Robert.
Take that course.
Oh, my God.
Maybe you should sit over there. So you can
See you.
Bad eye.
Stop getting old. Robert.
Aye.
Nothing else for new business, move on to the chief's report, WFD.
All right. So you got my report I emailed out. Tentative purchases, follow-ups from January. There. Pairs for the month. I'm just waiting to hear back. I don't know if Ferris sent anything back. Eddie said that he back to you about the Tahoe.
I did not get
Okay,
any.
all right.
What are we waiting for? A bill?
I'm not sure, because he said he dropped it off on Friday for some kind of knocking noise in the rear end, so I don't know if he got the car back yet or not. I'll email him, I'll text him
Haven't
later.
gotten anything.
All right, the safety recalls for the 2020 Explorer were done. So hopefully the car doesn't catch fire and transmissions just drop out of it. That was a 3.5 day wait for that vehicle, but it's all done. Any questions, any other items there I had in that report before I break into the operations part there?
On which, purchasing?
Anything up front, 'cause I did the purchasing stuff there that's already done, the repairs. Then the backside of the gross decon project we're putting together for the members.
Yeah, I had a couple questions, actually. The gross heating project.
Mhm.
I'm not opposed to a residential grade washer and dryer for handling that stuff. I am opposed to a combination unit, because when one goes bad, you're
Sure.
replacing the
That's
entire,
fine.
you're
Yeah.
replacing the entire
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah, it was just an idea, it's just a thought that I put out, and just
And dryers these days, gas dryers have no lifetime in them
Right.
anymore.
oh, I know.
6 years, 7 years, and you're replacing it. Where washers have much more.
Yeah.
And
No, it was just like I said, it was just a start for it to see where we go, you know.
that was just a thought on it.
No,
I'm
that's
not
fine.
opposed to the idea, not opposed to the project. I just don't like the idea of the combination.
Okay, that's fine. No, it's like I said, it was just something I was just searching around for and trying to keep the costs pretty much minimal and space wise.
You're gonna pay a little bit more for probably the two.
Well, I was gonna ask, is a space issue why you went that route? Because
I mean, looking around the firehouse, trying to put somewhere where there's plumbing, electric,
Gotcha.
and room for it. You know, we're kind of limited on that, but
The hardest part is the dryer vent.
the dryer vent, yeah, it's how far can you go with a dryer vent? You know, so we kind of stay from one of the, somewhere near an exterior wall somehow to get to do that. But, yeah, I looked at like maybe the mechanical room or, excuse me, by where the, emergency shower is, because there's a plumbing there already.
Mhm.
There's a drain for the other side of the walls for the, extractor. There's electric you can run right there already, so.
Room back by the wash bay?
The only plumbing that would be back there would be on the basically an interior wall.
Okay.
So that's the only, I mean, there's drain there and plumbing, but
I was thinking out of the way, an exterior wall that you could pull through for the.
right. I mean, only problem is there's no drain over there either. So it's just, probably wants to move forward and see where he could actually make it work. We did have put up some no gear beyond the points, the lounge, the stairwell upstairs, anywhere outside the engine room, just to keep, you know, one of the guys not wearing their gear inside the lounge area and banging up the new chairs and furniture and killing that stuff off pretty quick. The duty crew and staff thing, we're trying to put that together. Probably, like I said, last 6 months, the guys have been doing good. You know, it's been positive. It's something new for us. So guys are still back and forth with it, but we're going to try to move forward with that. We've opened up an apparel store through Wicked Smart. They sent me back the proofs the other day. I'll send it over to you guys so you guys can see what we're going with. This is something simple. T-shirts, coats, hats, whatever. It's got the department logo on it, North Michigan Fire District on it, so it's kind of falls in line with if you guys are going to purchase, you know, spending the district money, it's got your name on it as well. So that it's going good. Guys are doing it, and hopefully with this adding incentive now into it, we get a little more involved. Operations tab there. I got the physical schedule for June 10th and 17th. I got the paperwork and lists from the office over there. I have 10 driver training request forms, which, one second here. Don't forget that. Sure, I'm in. That's in your mailbox.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do lenses
That's
on all
fine.
these
Yep, that's
first.
fine. Yep.
Okay.
So there was just the starts. We get
Okay.
10 of them, which is great. Some of them are return drivers, some of them are new ones. So we're kind of getting a mix. We're starting a driver training committee. So Chris and the officers are going to lead that, get some of these guys back online. That sexual harassment training was distributed on the 5th. We got quite a bit back already, right? So we gave them a deadline to the 18th. It's a simple online training through FASNY. They sat there with coffee and did it as a group thing. As long as they're getting it done and they're doing their training and complying with what you guys want, it's great. The safety officer position spot that I made an email back in July of 24. I'd like to get that back up and rolling again for members. There's some interest in that still. So if you want me to send that back to you, I can for your review to kind of like job tasks and positions, duties and things like that. Just so we can kind of get that moving. Officer qualifications, I know there was a conversation about that a couple months ago. Somebody we can sit down with, so we get ahead of the game there with that instead of waiting until the end of the year and then we're in another pinch again. There's an email I got, or actually a phone conversation, Chris Wackel from Averill Park Fire Department. He's a member of the state emergency team. He sent an email. I had a conversation with him. It's just the gist of it is, with all his qualifications, when I've conversations with him, his resume, and talking to people who know him, and what he's offering is that for some reason we have a water rescue emergency in town. Since we have Averill Park on our alarm assignment for the first alarm as a standby for their boat, wherever else, he was inquiring if it would be possible or if we would allow it to have him report to the scene. And then if case may be that he may need to be a rescue diver, he has all of his gear, the whole list of everything he has in his vehicle that he pack away and reports to the scene. And then if it comes down to where we need to do any type of underwater recovery or rescue, he would ask to activate that tri-state emergency team. So then his insurance from Averill Park would now be transferred over to the tri-state emergency team, and then he could technically perform a scuba operation based on his training. He's able to go under by himself. So
I got some questions on this.
that's yeah.
How much of a team is Tri-State?
I looked on their website and I think they had maybe, I think it was like 8 or 9 people that are qualified scuba. They like their.
Why wouldn't an incident commander here just pick up the radio and call Averill Park and say, requesting mutual aid for your divers?
Right, but they don't have a technically a dive team. He is basically under their realm. So he'll if we dispatch
So
everything.
he's a contractor to them as well.
He's a member out there, but he also has his training and all that stuff to the scuba through them.
And I hate to tear this one apart, but
Go right ahead.
But have we talked to the Averill Park chief about this?
So they apparently went and got on board with him as well. That he put himself out to Averill Park and the Hoax Corners and Boson Hill to do this. That he would report to the scene, and if need be, that his services were needed as a diver, then he would want the tri-state emergency team activated, so then he could be covered under their insurance.
Wouldn't we be better off convincing him or convincing others, powers that be, that this might be better off happening at a county level? And he become a county resource available to everyone. I'm not done yet, because this one really bothered me.
Yeah.
So finally, the one that really stuck out at me is how many rescues do divers make?
Right.
It's recoveries.
Yeah.
Recoveries in the state of New York are a police matter.
Right.
So once.
And we have the same police on that alarm.
Once we've gone from rescue to recovery, this is now a police matter.
Mhm.
If we have a diver available that we can offer up to the police to supplement their efforts,
Mhm.
and, the sheriff's out there and he doesn't have a diver, and he says, great, put your guy in the water. But if the state police are out there and say, I've got a 12-person dive team on the way, get this guy out of the water.
Sure.
Now we're putting ourselves in a conflict position of why are we even doing this? It's like, it'd be like us having somebody that's qualified to handle, store robberies. We're gonna send them to a store robbery,
Right.
I just,
That's why I kind of passed along.
I'm really not
I'm
easy
kind of
about,
I'm kind of in the same boat.
I'm really not easy about this.
Right, I wasn't either. That's why I kind of brought it up because, I understand where he's coming from. He's trying to offer the service, sure, trying to be helpful. It's just, where would he fall in line with something happening? Not like he's.
But before we took action on this, if your recommendation was to approve it, I would.
No, I really would.
Yeah, but I mean, I would want Terry's opinion on
Right,
it before.
my
took
opinion
any-
is, I kind of like you said, the recovery thing is a police matter,
Yeah.
and we already have the state police involved in our water rescue.
And they have the state police has a list of ancillary dive teams that they call to
Right,
assist them when when they don't have the right
Yeah.
resources.
so that was kind of,
If I could add
Yeah.
something, we met at the county level, we met with Post and Kill, the, Barbersville Falls group, the state police dive team, Post and Kill Fire Department was there, and Post and Kill brought up that they were utilized this. I will give you the phone number for the master diver for the state police. They will reluctantly utilize another team. Their guys are qualified to a certain level. I'm nothing against the team. They're not, they know of them, but they're very concerned about someone else, not their level, to go in the water. It's life and death. There's no if and buts about it. So they were very adamant, the state, that they will not utilize those guys. You know, they'll use their guys first, and that's how they do it. They're very concerned.
And the sheriff doesn't know that, so he's probably gonna defer, I would think, to the state police for.
100%. We're not gonna.
So.
my feelings are the same as yours, I really wasn't too.
And really, when you look at the history of it, this is why fire department dive teams went away.
Right.
This is why, you know, I mean, why still had a dive team for years and years,
Mhm.
and this is part of the reason it went away.
No, that was my biggest, I'm not a, in case it came back around that day, but bring it up and say, you know what, your opinion, this is what you're the ultimate decision maker, so I just wanted to pass that along, like, kind of go back to my, the kind of conversation I had with him, I was feeling the same way, like, you know, you get the state police, and that's a different ballgame to deal with, and it's the recovery thing, you know, if somebody's out there paddling around the water, trying to, you know, save themselves from drowning, it's different, but the rescue recovery thing is.
I mean, now, if it's a through the ice and the mammalian reflex kicks in and he can be there in minutes, that might be a situation where he makes a difference. You know, if somebody goes in that cold water submersion and their lungs shut down for that brief period, their brain also backs down for that period. You know,
the park actually willing to take on that responsibility?
I don't.
According to the email they did.
Yeah.
That's
The whole email, yeah. So that was my consensus, was I didn't really feel comfortable either way giving it a yes or no answer. I was like, I'll bring it up, you know, to the 5 people above me for their
You know, a whole
input.
lot more information.
Good. That's all.
I think for now, as, you know.
I'm just gonna keep it as business as usual with us, and
Fine.
we'll keep what I'm doing. Perfect.
Chief,
Because I was involved in the dive team for a long time. That particular person, if he goes in by himself, it's the same as going into a structure fire, 2 in, 2 out, ropes. And if he's gonna get in the water and there's no safety equipment around him, especially through the ice, we're putting another victim in the water.
Perfect. That's all. That's I kind of where I was gonna go with it, and just wanted to get your opinion. The Hudson Valley dual response. It's something that I've always kind of never really made sense, but with the new CAD going on and response plans and things like that, and the amount of calls we actually get at the college, that it really doesn't make any more sense anymore why we're doing it. We're putting resources on the street for something that we don't need to. If the Detroit Fire Department get there in 3 minutes with 1 engine and 3 members, and here we are as a district putting in 2 departments with 2 to 6 chiefs and 2 to 6 fire apparatus, kind of defeats the purpose.
And they're clearing before we even arrive.
Yeah, even with a chief responding, there's times where I'm still meeting engine 3 there or engine 6 there. So it's one of those things. Is for the list of buildings we have there, I think out of all of them, I think Fitzgibbons was always the busiest one out of the 3 or 4 calls a year we do there. And more the majority of the time, it's at the beginning of the school year when they're doing service work.
Can we meet with them and get them to agree that it's still a joint building? And that if their engine gets there and it's something, and they request the box, that we be part of the box, or we'd be part of the.
So that fine line.
Yeah, that's where that fine line comes in. Because even right now, so if I get there first and they're not there yet, and I put our second alarm in, they show up. Now they're going to have 3 engines, 2 tower ladders, a rescue, an ambulance, and a battalion chief there. And here we are with 2 chiefs, 3, 4 rigs, and then I get a parking lot full of fire trucks coming in from 3 other departments. You know, we're kind of, I don't know, killing it. So I honestly, for the amount of calls we get at the college, and it's not like we're getting anything out of the college, just let it go. Let them have the split buildings. We continue on with the parking garage,
Stadium.
the stadium. And, for, like I said, we probably do 6 or 8 calls a year there, and majority of them are from Joe Bruno Stadium. In the summertime, they can't cook. So if you're willing to, I'd be more than happy to give Chief Lucia an email. I'm pretty sure they'd be just as excited to hear about it too.
Have
And
you had any informal conversations?
yeah,
with
it's an
them
informal
about it?
conversation, kind of give us just, I know there's been conversation about that, outside, from their end, and it's for 25 plus years we've been doing it. It's kind of never really made sense.
You're gonna get some bitching from some of the people, ooh, Troy went to, let's give him a call for it, we need to go.
Whatever. You know what? Whatever. Thank you.
Do you mind if I just add something to that?
Yeah, go ahead, Bobby.
So I kind of brought this to Dan's position or attention as my position in employment at the county. Where the tax map actually sits, where GIS pulls the information that gives us the response. There's 6 buildings that are the dual response, 3 are in Troy, 3 are in North Greenbush. So I had conversations with Troy, I had conversations with Dan. Sounds like everybody's willing to just take the address points in their city or in the town and call it a day. So
All right. So what I can do
that's
is,
where the address point actually sits. There are 3 in Troy and 3.
what we want, like, I can email Chief Salucci and give him a call or whatever, and just kind of give him a heads up, say, hey, here's what we're looking to do. If you're on board with it, we can just move along and change, and I'll make sure I CC you guys in an email and any conversations I have with him, and get this all squared away and not have to worry about playing nice. And then the last thing and highlight, this is for your dissemination only, please open it on YouTube.
It is on
It's
YouTube.
on YouTube.
It is, yeah, but I can say what it was.
We're live on
so.
YouTube.
Oh,
We see it.
All right, thank you. And that's all I got.
All right, moving on to the TFD report.
Yeah, so Chief Sheehan's working tonight. Wanted me to bring up, we have 2 purchases, PPE bags for the members who are going to training and keep their gear in those bags so we not get any contamination in the personal vehicles. We also have a hydrant bag that's being purchased. Chief Sheehan also updated our response guide. It's been posted around our station. And 2 Saturdays ago, we had a district chiefs meeting. It went very well. We met here and covered a lot of material. We got a lot of positive discussion, and everything was good. Jeff Steer, Assistant Chief Steer, has a follow-up on apparatus.
So after last month's commissioners meeting, we had 9/6's fuel tank strap replaced. While en route there, we lost our hose bed cover, but it was quickly recovered intact, so we saved that over on Washington Avenue. We also had car 2 and car 3 in for service. Car 3 had the recalls resolved at the Paula Ford. Car 2 had a drive shaft carrier bearing and a couple other things done at Heinz Auto Care that was not covered under warranty. And today, MES was at the station and they inspected and serviced all the Hearst tools. And according to the tech, they had no issues with the equipment, so everything's in good shape for the next year. That is all. Quick question, was the contract
No.
prepared yet?
We're working on it. It'll probably be by the end of this week. Our attorney was in, he had a trial last week, so.
John walked out, but I don't know if everybody reviewed both, I think there's 7 purchase requests for both chiefs. Resolution,
So resolved, all 7 of them.
second by Dan.
Roll call. Brian,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Nick,
Aye.
Rich, Bob.
See how easy it is to spend money on doing this?
Yeah.
I do got one thing for the Chiefs.
Good.
For the Chiefs,
Oh, yeah, totally.
I know you both, it's all new chiefs share. One of the things you gotta do with State Fire for your stipend program is provide the census report. last year I did it for Chief Clute Littlefield. If you want me to do it again this year, I can do it for you. But you guys had to give me the number of interior and exterior firefighters in the company, active exterior, not just all membership. Once I get those numbers, I can file with the state, and then you can apply for stipends again this year.
Okay.
So just shoot me an email with the numbers. I'll do the paperwork.
Anybody else have anything to teach? Okay, moving to the standing committee reports. Apparatus, Rich and myself.
Apparatus, the only thing I got is, well, you heard 9/6's, contract is a few days away from being finalized, so we can get that executed, get that rehab started. I know that Bob forwarded a copy of the work being done, to Wineskills folks so that they can kind of model what they're doing after it. Obviously, the work's not the same, but we have some consistent, modeling of the contract itself and the proposal. It'll make it easier for the vendors. It'll also make it easier on our end here in the building. Additionally, I think it's the 27th is our next truck committee meeting on truck work. So we backed off on meetings to give the vendor all the chance that they needed to prepare a good quote for us or a good proposal. We are really leaning forward on this. Let's put that tower under a new, put that tower and body under a new chassis. Because I really think the $1 million, $750,000 or $500,000 we're gonna save doing it is money that can be put to good use here in the district rather than going to a vendor to replace metal for no particular purpose. We see that as a good follow through on that. So they'll be back on the 27th with information up for us on a proposal. And as that moves forward, we'll be getting ready to go through some kind of RFP or bid or whatever it is we got to do with it. If you got any more.
Oh, you touched it all. That's that wine skill on the
Yeah, we'll be
27th.
at Wineskills on 27th because that way we're there where the truck is so that they can see it and touch it and feel it. Whatever.
Chief.
So with the Rescue 4-2 project, so they kind of inherited that at the first year. Were the vendors that came and look at 9/6, were they sent over to the Wineskills look at Rescue 4-2 at all?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Because the two projects were being handled independently.
Okay.
And 9/6's project would have a lot more steam and blow up.
Because my thing about it was, if they were here, they could at least maybe have got us a start where we could have looked at and a list to build off of, especially when they're looking at the underbodies, the mechanical and pump, things like that.
If you kind of take are you familiar with the way repair estimates and hey, this is the stuff you need done on your truck?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the way it comes back from Vandermoen?
But now you
He's good about it. He says, this is a high priority. You need to fix this.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
This is a moderate priority. You need to look at this and fix some reports. This is a cosmetic priority.
Right.
Take care of it as, time or money allows. And I think that my view of what your committee should be doing is the same thing. Look at Rescue 4-2 saying, hey, we want to get 8 more, 10 more years out of this thing.
Right.
These are the things we absolutely have to do to make that happen. These are things that will be nice, make it more operational. These are the things that make it look good.
Yeah, I mean, I read how Jeff worded
Yeah,
it, and it's just my thought, because going back when this all started a few months ago, if they're gonna bring people, at least if the vendors came, the business come in and say, listen, hey, take a peek at it. Here's some things that we see right now that you may want to put on your list of potential things to do, so that we're not kind of revisiting that, because now what if something happens and say Premier comes in and says, oh geez, you only have like $30,000 left, $100,000 left.
I think the reason we didn't was because the complexity of the two were completely different. The board recognized after going around and looking at the trucks, the board recognized that Rescue 4-2's project is going to be a lot more complex. There's some shelves that need to be built. There's some work that needs to be done that, quite honestly, I'm surprised hadn't been done along the way. People pointed at these tools aren't functional because there's no shelves and they're just piled here, and it's like.
But that's something that my launch
Anyway,
thing with the first year was actually go through the rigs and make them what we don't need, what we do need. Because we're getting everything in every rig. It makes sense, but that's the point.
We get somebody we can send over and show you everything that you need to fill.
Yeah, well, no, thanks, you can keep them. No, we don't, so the next part then is, so you're with the truck company moving along, And then 9/6 is going out in April, so that's what 60 days, we'll say mid-June, maybe gets back by, case no barring any issues. So between now, we're gonna get the meeting in February with the truck, between now and then whenever we decide to do Rescue 4.2. If for some reason the truck project comes to light pretty quick and say, geez, we're making this move, that project's going on the shelf, right?
No, I see the truck company taking longer, is my vision of it. Truck company's gonna take longer to finalize, and I'd like to see 9.6 and Rescue 4.2 done before the truck rolls.
That's my biggest fear, my thought was that
And you gotta
make a move in that truck quick, because the longer you wait on anything, it's gonna, like you said, it's gonna cost you more money.
But if you look at what the timeline and the schedule was for all this, the 2 rehabs were supposed to be done before we bought the truck.
Right.
So this
And there was kind of a lax in the operation of our side, but that's,
it is what it is.
but that was my biggest concern. I just want to make sure that if the project's not gonna go on the shelf for 3 years, that we can get that done beforehand.
No.
Perfect.
I
That's all.
think the goal would be is to get the rescue done in the fall, and then hopefully a ladder.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's just
follow.
that little thing in the back of your mind says, if that truck comes up to light quick
Nah, I
and
don't-
you get back
And-
numbers that
and-
you
and
want.
We still gotta work out, we still gotta talk about and work out what do we do for because that truck's gonna be going for a while. What do we do for that time? Do we buy an old one and run it for 6 months, 8 months, 10 months? Do we rent one? Do we, find plenty of mutual aid around?
Right.
We put posting.
That's what we'll worry about with
We
that.
will put posting on West Sand Lakes ladder on automatic mutual aid dust.
Good.
That's what we're.
That's all I wanted to know, just so how that's gonna handle, so, perfect, that's all I need, thank you.
2 tankers make a ladder, right? 2 tankers make a ladder, right?
Something like that.
All trucks carry a ladder, right? All right, moving on to building grounds. Now that we have filled the vacancy, we will be on buildings and grounds, and then also before paramedic operations and recruitment and retention.
You get to fill those blanks.
You get to fill those blanks.
Those blanks are there for a purpose.
But for now, Brian, you got anything for building and grounds?
Negative.
Lots of snow on the building and grounds.
Yes, we bought a lot of stuff.
Just to point out, we've had a few snowstorms, and I don't know if it's the membership at Wine Skill, if it's the town doing a great job, but the place has been salted, sidewalks have been shoveled. It's the same thing I expect over here.
Another day.
There was a crew down here Sunday morning to shovel the place out, snow blow,
We appreciate,
Guys at both stations are doing a great job.
appreciate the extra time. District personnel, Dan and Brian.
Nothing.
This is executive session for later,
Yeah,
right?
we're gonna,
Yeah.
executive session for later, yep.
All right, finance, insurance and audit, Dan and myself. I have nothing unless Sean has.
The auditors were here last month, I think the 24th of January. There's a half dozen items that they're waiting on a response for, but it kind of depended on what the bills were this month. And Bob and I nailed down the expenditures for the upgraded WFD, so you should have it, I should have it all to them by the end of the week. And I'll have the report filed by the end of the month.
Long range planning, Brian, myself.
As we were talking about, I'm waiting till feet under my, we plan us an email out something between now and next district meeting. It's, have our yearly meeting on long range planning.
Yeah, so you're aware, Brian, and I don't know if you've had this conversation with him or not. I had a conversation with the planning board chairman within the week, and he was saying with the moratorium coming off apartments in this town, it just came off, there was a moratorium, 18-month moratorium, just came off apartments. And he was saying with what's already proposed, what's already kind of on paper and being proposed, and what's already being, tossed about as ideas that they want to do this, we're looking at well over 1,000 more units.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up under development plan review,
Oh, I'm sorry.
where I always get yelled at for doing that.
I get the wrong column again.
First, let me
No,
know.
the plan
Let him
review.
go, he's on a roll.
He's on a roll, so it's hard to stop.
Well, I'll let you expand.
But no, you did just fine.
I gave you the introduction.
All right, no more on long range policy procedures and membership. I have nothing, Brian.
No, just as Chief Wilson alluded to, we are looking to go over the officer qualifications sooner than later. So something like we've been asking previous years for something, is this working? Is it not working? And it was working up until November. So that, and also I did see in your notes, you didn't bring it up there, is, you know, you were talking about a safety officer position. Yeah, that's something we mold into. If there's a need, I feel that there is a need for an actual written policy of what makes a safety officer, we can just lump that into the same conversation.
July had a pretty standard-ish.
Yeah.
You know, duties.
So we can look at doing that under
Absolutely.
the meeting.
I think under operations, we've got to look, operationally, we've got to look at some of the policies and procedures and make some recommendations back to the policy and procedure committee and say, we've looked at this operationally. There's one that jumps out at me that I thought we had nailed down. And I got questioned about it during the last month since the last meeting. And I went back into the policies and procedures, and thank you, Bob, for giving me access to them again, so I could just see them. And it hadn't, the policies and procedure had not changed. We had just done things different for a while. And now we've slipped back to exactly what the policy and procedure said, which isn't really the way we wanted it done. I can go into more detail when we meet privately, but we as a policy and procedures committee, but things like that, we really need to, as we make changes and good improvements, those need to be memorialized.
I'm done.
Procedures.
Oh, yeah, procedure, sorry, I even got a note there, says, yeah, I even wrote myself a note. Obviously, you know, chiefs and then commissioners, obviously, you know, the policy, you know, went out there, the driving and all that kind of stuff. Just please read them, go over them. Anybody who takes vehicles to work, I know Greg, told you already about it, but if you take your vehicle to work, you have to have something in writing from your employer saying you can leave for incidents and stuff like that. Beyond that, it's pretty straightforward. Just you can respond to me by saying, you know, you've read and understood. You don't have to sign each document. You'd be here all day doing that, but any questions on them? I signed mine.
I did too. All right, moving on to LoSAP. So it's that time of the year. I know, seen that DFD got theirs done, right? Pretty much there. Do you need a meeting with Brian and I, or do you feel that?
Yeah, we should have one meeting.
All right, well, let's get a schedule for this.
Good.
And then, you guys, how you doing line skill?
We got the last report from JO, so we should be able to figure that out pretty quickly.
We have a meeting, yeah.
All right,
Just double check. I know that we had, I don't know, was it system glitch? We had an issue where you have to basically hand calculate officer points. So make sure you double check the officer points.
I sent that.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's okay, but I sent them an example
yeah.
of
didn't
that
know
we
someone
used last year too. So I know there's new leadership.
Yeah.
Because you have the first chiefs, captain, lieutenants, you go by drill attendants, and then executive committee board members, you go by executive board meetings. That's how you figure out what those points are assigned. So got a cheat sheet for you.
All right, business operations technology, Dan?
We do need to renew the firewall. Bob and I have had a few discussions about this over the past month. The quote is in Dropbox. Bob, is the 2218
Yeah.
plus the?
No, the
monthly,
other
or is
one,
that
no, the other quote is if we were to go to a monthly, which
or not?
we're not going. I just wanted to show the board that there are some other options. It's actually a little bit more expensive, but our equipment is still new enough because we bought it in 2021. If let's say the firewalls were like 6-7 years old, because then we might have to look at something different. But so just renewing this is good, Dan.
Do we, I'm just noticing in the fine print, it says, you know, there could be potentially some additional charges. Do you want us to approve up to 2,500 just in case there's a few unforeseen?
You could. I mean, there could be a couple things. I mean, we have Spectrum coming here tomorrow to, just as a side note, to increase our speed here and at Wyanskill to 1 gig by 50. So, I mean, there will not be any upload, download issues with that. That's like, you know, the best we can get. So, that's also gonna, why we have to do this, because some of the firmware is outdated on this, Dan.
So, next resolution to approve up to $2,500 for the court.
Second it.
Roll call vote.
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
and
Aye.
Brian.
Aye.
All right, development plan and review, Brian.
Rich already touched on over the lot of departments.
A lot of units coming on board.
I'm just curious, we have discussed this before, but, in our long-range planning discussions, we know there was a shortfall in the future. One of the ideas put on the table was considering a fee, like a green space fee, even if it's minimal.
Mhm.
That could go to emergency services and distribute among the various, the police, the ambulance, and the fire district. Just curious if any more thought or desire to do that.
I think we'd have to get sit and meet with the town.
Town, yeah, but it's just something to think about.
No, we had talked about meeting with the town and I thought I thought you were gonna reach out at one point last year to one member just to kind of get the ball rolling or not. I mean, I can go and whoever, two of us sit down with the supervisor.
Just a thought.
No, I mean,
We were
it's
talking
something
about,
to-
because now there's gonna be 1,000 apartments coming in town. It might be worth something to
Some
consider,
kind of mitigation fee,
Yeah.
some kind of mitigation fee.
I mean, they don't need a green space fund. There's no green space left.
You go Bill's Beach House.
Getting there.
That's kind of true.
All right, I have nothing. Paramedic operations.
Couple things that I want to mention. One is, I do want to get a committee meeting together, which involves chiefs, myself and Commissioner Miller, and go over a couple things and maybe have a candid discussion on some of that stuff. Are we completely comfortable, the chief's completely comfortable on where we are with foam operations if a gasoline tanker goes over and starts burning on Route 4? I mean, we just got rid of all our foam. We just send all our foam off.
You can get an airport that bring over that much we need
So
to.
we're dependent on the airport or the state system.
We'll utilize resources that are well above our mentality or.
We're basically saying that we're going to utilize resources that are quite a time frame out.
Well,
Do we
the fuel
want?
tanker's not gonna go anywhere if it's on fire in Route 4.
Oh, I get that, but I know, do we want to look further into the future? And these are things we just talked about at the operations committee, want the board to think about. What do we do as a district to replace foam? Or do we just, say, not our problem anymore? And, one of the things I'm concerned about is we replace foam, we want to buy another $15,000 or $20,000 worth of replacement foam. And 5 years later, it becomes, that's a green issue, you can't use that anymore. You gotta pay a contractor to haul it all away. So it's a cyclical question. I just want to make sure that we're comfortable.
I think the state, how much, do you guys carry foam in the county anymore or that'll go on? So I
So
would,
foam trailer for sale and no foam on it.
I mean, like the state, the airport, and I think down to,
State of New York is probably our greatest.
Yeah. Honestly, if there's an 8,000 gallon
This
fuel
is like
tanker
telling-
around Route 4, I'm not.
I mean, we can ask around and see what are the counties, what are the bigger areas doing? Cover the gap.
Well, fingers crossed we don't use it at all, which is great. Fingers crossed we don't use it at all for anything.
Okay.
Anybody else? None, recruitment and retention.
Recruiter attention, again.
We just recruited him.
I know.
We retained him for 20 minutes so far.
I've been approached by the recruitment and retention committees now from both sides of town, both stations, and they've got some good ideas. They want to sit down, compile the ideas, see what we can do as a district, what we can do as individual fire companies, and what how much funding is available through the district, how much funding fire companies want to put up. I think I was involved in DeFriesel's meeting. I sat in on DeFriesel's meeting, and they've got some pretty good ideas. And both the committees have indicated to me they want to do a flyer. I know Dan's heavily involved in developing the flyer and the hotel and fundraising here. And I'm going to sit down with him after this meeting and pick his brain a little bit on what would it take to do a flyer that strictly dealt with recruiting and retention rather than adding it on as a paragraph or a column on fundraising. If we do something that's completely separate for equipment retention, I think we would do that. And that flyer would also be available if we do, you know, things at Town Park, or we do something at Home Depot, or we do something, anywhere we do any kind of PR thing. So we'll schedule a meeting and we'll get that done too.
Public session. Any comments for public session? All right, hearing none. Any motion for executive session?
To discuss.
We'll discuss personnel matters. Personnel and employment matters?
Dan.
Yeah.
Everybody, I'll talk to you tomorrow, right?
Okay, Joe.